like a safety of your sister. This is what my
Angela, what's the first question you're gonna ask?
We start things off with opening comments from you, so you'll have like just a description of how you think the game. And then that's when we go
This
for
is
questions.
the freestyle part.
Yeah.
What's first?
Yeah, I need to know.
I'll probably just talk
Opening
about the
comments for
performance.
them too, because I want to see
Let's
how
talk
they
about,
do.
we'll talk about more like I'll ask you guys direct questions of like how you guys think you did, team stuff, performances
We're
individually.
live. We're live. We're live.
You like that?
We're live.
I'll take you guys there.
We're live.
All right, good afternoon. We're now joined by the Thomas University Nighthawks. To our left, we have wide receiver Giselle Jones, our head coach Chelsea Palmer, and to our right, quarterback Kiana Cole. We'll start things off with opening comments from the head coach, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Yeah, so this is my freestyle part, right? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Am I live?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. So that was an exciting game. Can we start over?
Well, I was gonna say so. Yeah, no worries. Sometimes it's one of those things where
Angela, this is
excited
our
game-
first go round of this.
I was gonna say sometimes when you're excited about a game, it only needs so many
Yeah.
key words, and it's not as much of a detailed thing. But talk a little bit about the start of the
There we
game.
go.
A little bit. It seems like the second week in a row. Warner gets the opening drive, but then like what's being talked about on the sidelines in terms of trying to get the team consistent with what you guys have going all year long.
Yeah, so we're a defense coming in that's averaging, giving up, I think, 7.3 points a game. Warner definitely pushed that average up last week, scored 20 points on us, and then obviously came out the opening drive again and drove right down the field on us. So, just really trying to rally the troops and make sure that, we're playing as a unit. We lost our starting safety this week, so it was we had 1 day of prep with Kiana, so she really stepped up and did a great job back there for us. And as a whole group, our defense really stepped up because that's a very, very high-powered offense that's really hitting on all cylinders recently. So I was very proud of how our defense responded offensively. All game, we're kind of a dink and dunk type of offense, and with some play extension here and there. They did some different things to us. They rolled down a different way, and had us a little confused early, and then we were able to take advantage of it with the score to Kiana. So, overall, just this is a team that continues to just fight every single play. We've been down in the past couple games, and we've somehow found a way to fight through and convert and finish games. Which, when you're at this point in the season, that's the biggest part, is finding a way to come together and complete games. So no matter how we're struggling or whatever that mood may be, we just find a way to flip a switch and get it going. So very proud of our kids from that standpoint, and continue just to push through. That says a lot about their character and who they are as people. So did a very good job there.
This question is for Kiana, and kind of going off of what Coach has been mentioning about stepping into roles. I mean, you've always been a player that's been playing on both sides of the ball, but in particular to step up in that safety role. Talk a little bit about what that means from a player, knowing how that matchup and game plan comes into fruition.
Well, I feel like I would favor offense over defense as a player myself. So I feel like stepping up into Keith's position, I've always been a team player. I'm always gonna step up for the team. Flag football is not a you sport, it's a team sport. So I feel like us stepping up as a defense as a whole, that's definitely.
And a question for Giselle Jones. Giselle, we know that like in games and stuff, it's been kind of on and off, but you had you had one heck of a game today, just shutting down the Sun Conference Offensive Player of the Year, but just kind of talk a little bit about, just into that role per se, and knowing what, kind of similar to what Kiana's question was, but like just mentally preparing heading up to this week's match.
A lot of film. I watched a lot of film this week. And during practice, we all came together and we basically said that we got to guard Cynthia and number 9. They're great players. So it was very tough, but at the end of the day, I had to step up for my team. So.
Coach, one thing we did notice in the second half, you guys were using Shelby Hartley a lot through the middle, and it was a whole lot more passing options than we've seen the typical Kiana and Janae combo in the backfield. But what led into a second half change decision? Because we did see a lot of passes up in the middle, but then it's just quick outs and pitching it out to the outside receivers. But kind of go into a little bit about what led to that game plan into a second half change.
I mean, well, Warner did it to us last game too. I mean, it's very difficult, unless you're multiple on defense. It's very hard to cover 6 people. I mean, you're never going to be in a situation where you can get everyone covered. It's just at that point in time, making the read, finding out, who's going to be open pre-snap, alignment, things of that nature. And so, that's really what we focused on. And we saw kind of some things, adjustments that they had made, and so we tried to play off of it. We saw us, we moved Britt around a little bit today. Obviously, she's been a high-powered player for us on offense, and so we had to do some things to combat that. And so I think that we did a good job figuring that out, and then from there, players just got to make plays. And so, we were able to string some things together, and then we got in a situation where we're usually pretty confident. We got up late, forced people to use their timeouts, and then we had a decision to make. We came together as a group, and and a lot of them wanted to go for it, and I've always trusted our defense more so than anything, so I felt that it was the best decision to, we got a great placement punter. She does a great job with that, and I felt like that was our best bet with how much time was left with no timeouts. So putting them in a long yardage situation there, we just happened to get a great play on the ball, great kick, and then at that point in time, it was just stepping up and playing defense for a few plays, and that's what we were able to do.
Yeah, that actually was going to be my next question, was especially on that 4th down situation when there was only 6 yards. Normally we see you guys go for the rush and try to pick up those 6 yards, but then you had the Kiana Cole punt attempt, and then there was a couple of nice bounces. But kind of go into a little bit more detail with that situation in terms of, in that moment in time from a coach's perspective, there always is that 4th down, but what ultimately led to that decision to just go ahead and get that punt in?
I was, from a player standpoint, I think they all wanted to go for it. From a coaching standpoint, we kind of got together and, decided that was going to be the best. And at the end of the day, the players have bought in and trust, whatever the coaches say, and that makes it a lot easier. And so we just thought ultimately, as a coaching staff, that it was better to do that. And so we made that decision, and then we trust our defense. We trust our players to come up big in big time moments. They've been doing it all year, especially down the stretch here, and that's what they did.
And then last but certainly not least, you got Kaiser on the horizon a 3rd time. What's the mindset heading into that final matchup at 3:30?
I think the mindset always is, the expectation is always to go in and win. I mean, that's the goal. We're going to fight every single play, no matter what's going on in that game. Obviously, they're a very high-powered offense too. They got a great quarterback, got a great group of receivers. So defensively, we're going to have to step up, especially in the absence of one of our starters. But I think that Kiana's done a great job, and she's going to step up for us again. And I think offensively, we got to string some things together. I mean, we know what we are. We identify that, we understand who we are, and we just got to make plays when they're available.
All right. We're good.
I had to loosen it up for y'all. You're welcome. God bless you.
Did you want to stop it?
Yeah, we're going to end the live. And we're going to create a new one.
Yeah, I did say it.
So it's going to be like for each video.